What is up, everyone? Scott Brent coming to you on this chilly, it's kind of cold outside, Thursday evening, Colorado Springs, one half of two native sons. Shout out to my business partner, Patrick. I know he made a post. He's got a little of his humor coming back. So it seems as if he's on the right track to where he needs to be and whatnot. So, but it's interesting because I'm not one to be big with lotion, which is kind of weird to talk about right away. Hey, what's up, Jansen? Hopefully everything's going well for you, man. But if you caught the Dreamer Cypher last night, Q was talking a little bit about the business that we're part of, Secret, and ended up getting some lotion, in which was part of a surprise pack. And like normally for a guy, I'm not like, oh, it smells awesome. No, it's lotion. But it's funny because the lotion that I got, it smells great. And it's one of those things that my grandmother tried it. So she's like, man, this is great. But Colorado, so it's a very dry area. And she had put it on and she's like, man, it feels like velvet. And then my mom's like, I love this stuff. So if you want to know about it, just let me know. Send me a private message. Do what you need to. But yeah, it's some awesome stuff and whatnot. So grateful for it. My knuckles usually get dry, so should be good and whatnot. But yeah, so it's one of those things that questions that you ask, and are you asking the questions of yourself that's going to make your mind go search for those answers? And it's interesting because I was talking to Garrett, and he was discussing a call that he was on, and it was brought up in regards that you've got your goals. And so are you walking into those goals? And one way to do it is, are you asking yourself, what can I do to reach or achieve whatever goal it is? And it's one of those things that when he brought that up, I was like, okay, that's kind of unique, because when you do the studies and you start looking at the information, the questions that you ask, your brain is going to go search for those answers to give you the answers to the questions that you're asking. And so it goes in regards to stacking your thoughts. Are you asking yourself these negative questions, and then you have these thoughts that are negative, so they stack upon each other, and then you're like, what is going on here? And so it's one of those things that you've got to take the time and audit and see what questions you're asking. What thoughts are you having, and what are you stacking that's going to cause your brain to look and try to find those answers in regards to the questions that you're asking yourself. And so it's one of those things that you've just got to understand that your brain is a very powerful tool that you possess. And it goes into regards of, who are you allowing to come into your space? Who are you allowing to occupy rent in your mind? And what are you doing to make sure that you protect your mind, protect who's getting in there, you protect your energy, and you protect the thoughts that are occurring and whatnot? And so I was doing a little research, not a little research, but went into the books that I have. And one of the books that I have is Conscious Luck. You're probably like, Conscious Luck, really? And I would highly suggest getting the book and doing the reading and whatnot. And so in here, they were discussing that they were talking with an individual, and they were talking about decisions that they make. And so Q and I had talked a little bit about that last night with Jasper, with making a decision and then sticking with it. Too many people are quick to make a decision and then flip So if it's not working out, they decide, oh, I'm not going to do it. There's challenges that are popping up, there's hardships that are occurring, they're like, I don't want to do this. And let me back out and try to go the easiest way, which is the path of least resistance, which is the path that you normally go down. And so you've got to look and say, okay, what results am I having occur as a result of the actions that I'm taking? And so if you're going down the path of least resistance and you keep getting the same results, you've got to look and be like, well, it's this path that I'm taking. So it's your thoughts and all that. And so the one of the things that this individual was asking themselves when it comes to every decision that's made is, how can this be a win for everyone involved? And think about that. If you start thinking about everybody that's involved in that decision, and you can say, how can this be a win for everyone? Your mind is going to do the work to start looking for, how can we make this a win for everyone? And so it's powerful, because the one thing that is unique and powerful is utilizing social media to your advantage. You have a platform that's very large that you can reach out and touch and impact a lot of individuals if you use it properly. And so I was talking to Jasper today, and one of the things that I brought up was, a lot of people talk about the fear of doing lives, of doing videos, whatever it is, because they don't know the actions and responses that the audience is going to have. And I was like, you can't worry about that, because if you're worried about what people are going to think, the reactions that they're having, you're going to miss out on an opportunity to impact somebody else. And if you impact one life, you're going to do big things, because guess what? It's a chain reaction. Once they get impacted, they turn around and go impact somebody else, because they've had the opportunity to hear a message that they needed to hear. And then they can turn around and share that information, or share the aha moment, or find that nugget that they need to go and do something differently. And so it's one of those things that I brought up, the fact that you've got to take the spotlight off of yourself, and you've got to put it on your audience. You've got to understand that you have a message that somebody else needs to hear. You just got to get out of your own way, and you can't overthink it. One of the phrases that gets utilized a lot between myself, Patrick, when we talk to Jasper, Garrett, and any individual that I talk to, is the action of imperfect action. Going out there and doing it regardless of what may take place. You've got to take that imperfect action, because if you try to have everything perfect, it's not going to work out, because you're going to get stuck and you're going to constantly overthink it. You've just got to go out there, share your message, share your story, share whatever it is, and just do it. Because a lot of times, I think it's funny, because a lot of people are like, well, it's got to be perfect. I've got to have the perfect shot. I've got to have the perfect lighting. I got to have the perfect setup. I've got to speak perfectly. It doesn't matter. A lot of more individuals resonate with that imperfect action, with the thing that is not perfect, because that's real life. And it's funny, because they've done studies and they've looked at the aspect of the high quality production and whatnot with commercials and everything like that. And they're finding out that that doesn't really resonate. It's the real shit, the real life, just showing up, sticks out for people a lot more than that perfect thing. I've got to speak perfectly. You're not going to speak perfectly. And if you try to speak perfectly, you're going to end up screwing up the opportunity to share the message with somebody else that's going to impact that person and a lot more people. So you get this guy, go out there and take imperfect action. Screw the fear, screw the ego, just go out and do it. We end up missing a lot of opportunities to make a big impact and do big things. And so it's just something to consider and whatnot. And let me see here. So they were talking about when we follow the thread of our dreams and desires from the superficial to the deeper levels of our hearts and minds, we automatically uncover more juicy, exciting goals. And think about that. What that does is going from that superficial. And so I think you could potentially correlate that with your pseudo self, not showing up as your true solid self. You're showing up as your pseudo self, the superficial things to appease whoever, to get the validation from people. You're showing up as your false self because that's what we've been told to do. Or society's like, you gotta show up perfect. No, screw that shit. Show up as your true self. And you've got to remember, you're gonna have some people that will love you, you're gonna have some people that hate you, but there's no in between. And so you can't play this middle ground. If you're fearful to repel the few, you're gonna miss out on attracting the many. And so you've just got to go out there and show up and be true to yourself. The people that will resonate with you for showing up as your true self is going to be there. They're going to show up. And it's the vibration, the energy that you put out, you're going to attract. And so you don't have to worry about your following, your audience. People are going to show up that need to show up and are meant to be part of your mission and your journey. The ones that have the issue with whatever you're doing and whatnot, that's their lens. They need to take the time and look and be like, why am I upset about this? What's causing me to be upset? What do I not resonate with? And that's okay. We got to remember, everybody looks at life differently through different lenses. And so that's how they're seeing life. And you can't go and flip somebody to come join your mission and your journey if they're not meant to. So it's one of those things of just showing up as your solid self, showing up as your true self. Don't show up as your pseudo self. Too many people do that for whatever reason. And it goes into, I got to be perfect. No, you don't have to be perfect. Screw that shit. Like, just be yourself and show up. It's funny because in here they're talking about luck changing practices to do every day. Take bold action consistently. I have to laugh because how many of us are taking bold action every day consistently? I've talked about this and I brought this up. The secret to success, it's not sexy and it's the foundation. It's the consistency. It's showing up even if you don't want to. And I know for myself, there was about 10 days that I didn't show up and I wasn't feeling the greatest. So, hey, sometimes life throws curveballs. You just do what you can. But if you're showing up consistently, giving value, helping with the ILT, Invest, Learn, Teach, doing that and really showcasing and helping individuals out, it's going to make a large impact. It's going to do big things. And so you just got to be open to taking the bold action consistently. And so let me see. In here, they talk about say yes. Being spontaneous is calmly trusting that whatever the outcome, you'll have a positive, if challenging experience that will lead to greater self-awareness and success. And so that's one of those things when I look in regards to myself and you listen and they talk about going and living your own life. Even in a relationship, you've got to have your own life. Say yes to the opportunities. Go out there and experience life. Too many people get stuck in their routines, get stuck in their boxes, and they don't go experience life. So they're not growing. They're not progressing as an individual. And what was it? Something that was spoken? I can't remember. But it's you got to go experience life. You got to get out of your box and go do something different to shake up the routine, to shake you to see life in a different perspective, potentially to see it in a different light. You've just got to go do it. And so one of the things, as my phone goes off here, that's cool. One of the things that I've looked at, and I've talked to individuals, and so working on creating my own life coaching practice. Originally, it started with the outlook of working with divorced gentlemen because I've gone through it. And so I know what I bring to the table. I know the value. I know the worth. I know what I'm doing to help other individuals get through this. Because I had a friend that I was talking to. He went through a divorce, and he said for 2.5 years, it was the worst time of his life. And so I look at that, and it comes down to the fact that going and trying and doing things on your own does not work. We are social creatures. So we're meant to have those connections. We're meant to have the relationships. We're meant to have the individuals that will sit with us and give us space and help us create that container for our life. But you've got to do all the work. You're the expert of your life. It's your hero's journey. And you've got to go and grow and do what you need to overcome those challenges, overcome the dragon, go slay the dragon. So you come back a different person and have grown and made the progression. And so when I started the journey, it was the focus on just divorced gentlemen. But then my mom asked me the question. She's like, what about working with women too that have gone through divorce? And I was like, I don't know about that. But then talking to friends, I was talking to Jasper today, and she's like, no, that's perfect, because some women want to work with men when it comes to the coaching piece and all that. And some women want to work with women. And so that has opened up where Jasper was talking. She's like, you bring in a neutral stance. You bring in a part where it's non-judgmental. You're there for the individual. You're helping them out and whatnot, and you bring something unique. And so that's something that Jasper has talked about, is she wants to interview me, which is funny because she has talked about, and it's one of those things that she's like, I feel better on the other side of being the interviewer instead of the interviewee. And so she's like, I want to interview you to showcase and let people know what you're about, who you are and whatnot. And so she had brought up the fact that expanding and looking and working and coaching women that have gone through a divorce, if they're open, she's like, you bring that perfect spot for individuals. And I was like, okay. And then talking to Gary, I was talking to another coach, and a relationship came up. And so I was like, okay. And then this business coach, he's like, you're in that spot of helping individuals work on the relationship with themselves. Because I know when I went through my divorce, it was not great. I did not have a great relationship with myself. I was looking at other people outside of myself to complete me. And so that's really what has come to the point for me where I tell people, I'm like, you've got to complete yourself. The other individual, regardless of what it is, business partner, friendship, intimate relationship, whatever it is, that other party is there to be a complement to who you are. But you as the individual have to complete yourself. And so that's a mind shift change. And that's also looking internally and saying, is there stuff that I am not giving myself that I'm demanding from somebody else to give to me? And I brought this up, and it's one of those things that I look at. It's kind of like Avatar. If you've seen the movie Avatar, you have, I think they're like dragons or flying horses. There's something. And so, of course, the Avatar, big, tall, blue people, if you've not seen the movie, they have the ponytail or whatever it is, apparatus here where they connect with that animal. And so it's unique because when I look at it, and I brought this up, that when you're looking at somebody else to complete you, and if you have the expired relationship, you go through the divorce, that person just walks out. And if you're looking for that person to complete you, it's going to be painful. It's going to be very hard because it's getting ripped away from you, because you're looking at this person to fill a hole in you, whatever that hole is. Everybody's different, so it's going to be different for everybody. But the fact that if you're not completing yourself and you're looking at somebody to do that for you, it's going to be painful. But if you're completing yourself and that other person, whatever that other person is feeling, is a compliment to you, if they walk away, you have an expired relationship, the relationship doesn't work, that heartache and that pain is going to be a lot less, because when they walk away, nothing's being ripped out. It's a compliment for that person to you. If you're completing yourself, they walk away, there's nothing that's going to get ripped out. And so the thing that really has come up now is kind of a pivot with my coaching practice and who I work with, really is opening up now to working with both men and women, because that experience, we've all are in a similar boat, but the journey and going through everything is going to be different for everybody. But ultimately, a coach is there to be there with gentle accountability, to ask the questions, to hold and help that other individual hold the flashlight up and do a 360, looking at their life and seeing what they can do to work from going from a baseline to a thriving life, whatever part of their life that is. And so I look at it, if you've gone through the divorce or a breakup, an expired relationship, if you don't work on yourself, you don't work on the relationship with yourself, that heartache, the pain that you experience is going to bleed into everything else in your life, and it's going to impact it. And so it's one of those things that you've got to work on yourself. It starts with you. It's an internal thing. It's your thoughts. It's your mindset. And so I do have it where the first 3 individuals send me a private message. We'll do a free 30-minute discovery call, and just to see what assistance I can provide. But if you'd like to take me up on it, do it. Like I said, reach out, send me a private message. We can do a free 30-minute discovery call, see where you're at, see what needs to be worked on, what area of your life that you want to transform, work on to be from that baseline to thriving, and go that route and whatnot. So, but yeah, no, it's one of those things that it's asking the questions. Legitimately ask yourself the questions. But you've got to be mindful about how you word the questions, because how you word your questions, your brain is going to search for the answers and find those answers for you on the question that you're asking. And so it's just one of those things that comes down to the question piece. So, but thank you guys for your time. Thank you for checking this out. If you have any questions, you have anything going on, don't hesitate to reach out. Patrick and myself, that's part of Two Native Sons, is sitting down, talking to people, helping them go through, figure out how to reach their dreams, what they need to do, and give them that sounding board, give them that springboard that they may not have. Because I look at it, we have the issue where a lot of times we're on our own. You don't audit and look at the people that you surround yourself with. You don't look at your friends and family that you're surrounding yourself with and looking at the impact that they're having on you. You have individuals that have given up on their dreams. They have decided that life's too hard. They have listened to people that tell them, hey, don't dream that way. Don't think that way. That's unreasonable. You're not going to be able to do it. And then they're like, yep, they're right. And then they take their dreams and their hopes and put it in a box, put it up on a top shelf, never to see the light of day ever again. And then what happens to them, they get jaded. They turn around and then start ripping people's dreams down because they gave up on their own dreams. And so what Patrick and I are doing with Two Native Sons is working with individuals, letting them know, give yourself grace, but go out there and do it. If you have these dreams, let's go pull them down and let's go after them. Let's get them to where they need to be. But ultimately, it comes back down to this again, that you are the expert of your life. You know what's best. You know what actions to take. But sometimes you're overwhelmed and you need somebody outside of you to help you out to get to where you want to go, to get to that next level. because ultimately you've got to understand that you're with yourself 100% of the time. So if you don't do the work, you don't go and change your thought process, and you don't have anybody that can come in there and jump in the way to cut off those negative stories that you're telling yourself, the constant negative ideas, this isn't going to work, yada, 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 whatever it is. If you don't have somebody that's going to jump in there and cut that off so you're good, you're going to constantly be on this vicious hamster wheel, never to see the light of day. You're going to constantly go over and over and over. And so it's a matter of getting that broken, having somebody that can come in and break that for you. But they're there to give you that general accountability, to ask the questions, to look at things differently. But like I said, it ultimately comes down to you as the individual, do the work. So, but thank you guys for your time. If you found any value in this, love to see it in the comments, see what aha moments you had, what you took away from this. And like I always say too, like maybe there's something that I'm speaking on, maybe there's something that I said that you're looking at it differently. I'd love to hear how you're looking at that situation, to see your opinion and see how you're looking at life through that lens, and see if there's something that I'm missing. Because ultimately, education comes through the conversations. It's coming through looking at the life experience of somebody else and listening and hearing and seeing if there's something that we're overlooking. So like I said, any aha moments that you took away, anything that maybe you're looking at it differently, share it. And if you find value in this video, share it. I know we're YouTube, streaming on YouTube, Twitch. Based on what I'm seeing, it's live, and then once you're done, it's not there anymore. So it's kind of different and unique with that. But yeah, there's a share button for Facebook. Hit share it to whoever you think needs to hear this, and get the word out. That's ultimately how the information gets shared, is by having the video shared. So other than that, I'll catch you guys later. Appreciate your time. I love you guys. Peace. Have a good night.